Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
So check it out. The D6 Squad has merch now. We got hoodies, tees, mugs, whatever you need. Check it out. Link in the description. On YouTube, Diggy546. This one is going to be Azeez Ojulari, linebacker, outside linebacker, edge player, number 13 out of Georgia. And the things that I value most when I'm scouting the edge rushers, definitely speed, the ability to get off the ball, the moves that they have. But I would definitely say speed and explosion is at the top, especially when you're in a 3-4. 4-3, you can kind of, start to look at hand movement, start to look at the technicalities, start to look at that stuff. But Ojulari is an athlete. Ojulari has a couple of moves, but for most part, he's just going to just come off the ball and beat you that way, which can work. I mean, with his level of explosion, that can work sometimes. He's going to be someone that's going to be a threat just because of these tools that he already has. So you're going to see him right here, number 13, and just watch him come off the ball. I don't have to say much. Just watch how he comes off the football. Just watch. Just watch. The play just started, and he's already past Leatherwood. He's got Leatherwood way back here, meeting him way back here. So as he comes off the football, it's ridiculous how far he meets him at. And at this point, he's already about to disengage. And he doesn't really, you can tell that he flustered Mac Jones on this particular play. He doesn't touch the quarterback. But just seeing someone come off the ball this fast affects the quarterback because he just rushes it. Now, it got completed, but seeing this come off the edge, play after play after play, that's going to affect the quarterback. So next thing I wanted to talk about is closing speed. And he has some serious closing speed. Ojulari is, I've already talked about it. He's just a physical monster. He has a lot of closing speed. And you're going to see it on the next couple of plays I'm going to show you, starting off right here. The arrow's pointed to him, number 13, coming off this edge against Alex Leatherwood. And he starts off kind of keep it contained, and it just shows you how fast he can go from static to dynamic. It just shows you how fast he can go from not moving to moving at like 100 miles an hour. So he's going to start off and contain. And as soon as he sees that the quarterback keeps the ball, he just disengages. Which is, it's hilarious to me when these defensive ends are just engaged with these tackles. And then they just decide they want to leave, and they just go. Now, he's got pretty long arms because he's got his hand in Leatherwood's chest, and that's how he just disengages. He just disengages and then just watch the closing speed. Now, he didn't get the sack, but just to see how he goes from not moving at all to just all of a sudden in his face, it just shows you how explosive he is. And to go back to the arms. Hand in his chest. He can't really reach you. I mean, he's got, his fingertips on him? Get off of me. I'm going to go get the quarterback. And that's an errant throw. And here's another example of just pure acceleration. And we'll just see it right here. I'm just going to let it play. He starts off and then he just accelerates. I mean, it's just ridiculous. He just starts off just engaging with the offensive line. Now, I mean, mind you, not many offensive linemen are going to really be able to stay with him. He's working against Deontay Brown and Landon Dickerson. He starts off engaged with him, and then he just goes and gets the quarterback. And another errant throw that ends up being picked. And then here you're going to just see him come off the ball. Very explosive again. And he's just going to bend the corner and just go get the quarterback. It just shows you just how explosive he is. And I mean, if someone had a word counter for how many times I said explosive, I probably said it about 50 times by now. But it just shows you how he can just be in a completely static position, engage with the tackle, get off of the tackle, and just immediately go get the quarterback. He just jumps into him, which is just, it's things that you see veteran NFL pass rushers doing, is they just jump right into the ball because their force coming back down on his arm, they're not going to hold on to that. And this again is another example of his closing speed. And it's another example of how he gets off the ball too. This is just a complete picture of who he is. He's going to come off the ball extremely fast, beat the tackle in like 0.3 seconds, pretty much. Just throw him out of the way. And then just accelerate. Now, this is just another example of how dangerous Azeez Ojulari can be. I mean, on a play-to-play kind of basis. He's going to come off the ball and just shut down this play completely. Just watch him just come off, get the inside, and then to be able to track and know who has the football and just go and make the play. And now that we've sort of transitioned to the run game, I just want to show you, first off, in the run game, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Now, he does have weaknesses. He definitely has weaknesses. He could use a little bit more pass rush moves, moves with his hands, spins, all of that. If he can incorporate that into his game, I mean, the sky's the limit. But this is something he knows what he's doing in the run game. Now, they're going to hand this ball off, and he's going to basically shut down this play from going in his direction. Now, Najee Harris ends up getting a little bit of yards from it, but not because Ojulari. He shuts down, he squeezes. You're going to watch him come off the ball and just start to squeeze. Because anytime you're unblocked, coming out of this rush, anytime you're unblocked, something fishy is going on. So he realizes he's unblocked, squeezes, and takes away that running lane. And yeah, I mean, this does end up getting what? I mean, a yard, no yards. It ends up being no gain. So he shut down that play. It was supposed to go the other way. It was supposed to go to his side, and he just stopped it. Took on that lineman and just shut down the play. And this is another play where it just shows how smart of a player he is, how disciplined he is in the run game. Number 13 again. He's going to come off the ball, and he's going to crash down. And what they want him to do is to just crash down directly for the running back. They just want him to go directly at the running back or directly at the quarterback, and he's going to get washed that way. Someone's going to come backside, someone's going to go from his blind side, and they're going to wash him. But instead, he knows that he's unblocked. He sees that this guard is probably coming to take my head off. And not only does he stop that lane and make the running back have to cut out, he stops that and he makes the tackle. I mean, in reality, he's taking this man out. He's taking this guard out so that 37, right here, number 37 right here, can come and make that tackle. But he engages with this lineman and he makes the tackle. So this is just a great job by him. But then finally, everybody has their weaknesses. And I would say that Azeez Ojulari's weakness is probably the power run game, where there's no misdirection, where there's no pulling. When someone's coming directly at him, he's going to struggle because he's not the biggest. He doesn't have the biggest frame. He's not the most stout. I mean, I would say he will be good in the run game against, teams trying to fool him, misdirections, all of that, zone blocking. But just straight ahead blocking, he's going to struggle with because he's not the biggest person. So they're just going to come off the ball and they're just going to stand him up. Leatherwood just stands him up, gets him out of the way. And, I mean, this play ends up getting, about 3 yards, 2 yards? But if Najee Harris cuts back, I mean, he's got Devontae Smith to make this block or at least get in his way. If he cuts back, I mean, he has a hole right here, and, he could be going up the left sideline. And it just shows, he's not the most stout. But that, to me, is his biggest weakness. I mean, the other one is the lack of pass rush moves, but if those can be taught, he'll be amazing. Even if they aren't, he'll still be able to get consistent pressure. So what I've showed you so far is Azeez Ojulari is incredibly explosive. He's a great athlete. He can athlete his way into doing things. And, I mean, he's such a great athlete that will translate to the NFL. That's not one of those things that, you know, he can athlete his way to things, but it won't translate to the NFL. That will translate. He does need to work on his pass rush moves. He does probably need to put on a couple of pounds to hold up in the run game a little bit better. But, you know, for the most part, he uses his speed and he uses his power that he generates from that speed to be able to stop some of these runs, to be, you know, disruptive in all aspects of the game. And I would not be angry if we took him at 11, if we solved that wide receiver issue. And I mean, maybe Waddle's not there and no wide receivers are there. I would not be angry if we took him at 11. I wouldn't be angry if we traded back, took him at about 15, 16, 17. None of that will make me angry. And I think Ojulari is going to be a good player. I think he's my number one edge rusher in this class, probably up there with Jalen Phillips. But Jalen Phillips has that injury issue. But, I mean, to me, he's the cleanest edge rusher besides probably Kwity Paye, who's not a 3-4 outside linebacker in this entire class. And I would love to see him as a Giant, you know, if everything else goes the way we want. So you guys let me know what you think of Azeez Ojulari. Tell me if you learned something seeing this, and let me know. So if you made it this deep into the video, I'm calling you a D6 Squad member. If you're a D6 Squad member, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to turn on that notification bell. And listen, I make all kinds of content for NFL teams, so if you're not a Giants fan, don't worry. I'll cover your team. If I'm not covering your team, let me know, and have a good one.